you're going to have a choice. If you're a highly toxic person, low energy, and you feel blah and dirty inside, have a vegetable juice. If you're skinny in that way, you put an egg in it with 1 teaspoon of cream up to 1 tablespoon of cream. Depending upon your size, the amount of juice, depending upon the amount of toxicity. Come to me, I will tell you exactly how much I think you should have. Otherwise, have anywhere from 8 to 16 days. If you have the juice at that time, if you feel that way, you're going to have to wait an hour and 20 minutes or so to have your meat meal. If you don't have the juice, you go right into the meat meal. 10 minutes after the cheese, you have your meat meal. Always have butter with your meat meal. 90% of the time. You can have sour cream, do not have fresh cream with your meat. It will coat it, pearlize it, and you'll ingest half of it. Big waste of meat, expensive. So you can have sour cream with it. Sour cream will interfere. Sour cream is pre-digested. The most difficult fat to digest is cream, raw cream. Best to eat it with something that digests quickly, like milk and eggs. So like in milk eggs. No, I say, call it sour cream, it's called cream, okay? So sour cream can be eaten with meat, but you don't want to have it more than, let's say, 5 meat meals a week if you're eating 14 meat meals a week, 2 meat meals a day. So after you have the meat, wait 25 minutes, have a little cube of cheese. Cube of cheese is the size of a sugar cube, which is a half a teaspoon. I'm just going to say a cube. And that means a half a teaspoon the size of a sugar cube. 10 minutes after that, you have 1.5 to 3 tablespoons of cheese with 2.5 to 3 teaspoons of honey. Very small amount of honey. It can even be less honey than that. But at least 1/3 the amount of honey to the amount of cheese. Remember, there are 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon. So no more honey than 1 teaspoon of honey per tablespoon of cheese. I usually eat half that. Now that cheese, when you're eating with honey, remember like I said, if you eat honey with cheese, you're going to digest it. But that's a huge mineral supplement. Do you know how many minerals are in a tablespoon of cheese? All the minerals that are in a 1.5 cups of milk. It takes a 1.5 cups of milk to make 1 tablespoon of cheese. Think about that. Of hard, dry cheese. And breast. Pardon?
We don't have hard, dry cheese here. We have clear cheese nowadays.
Well, the best thing to do is, to make a cheese like cottage cheese and let it get very, very dry. And you can press it yourself if you want. Better not to have cultured cheese when you want to pull the poisons out of the body. The honey will take care of the pre-digestion that you would normally do with culture. You do not want to digest that cheese that you're taking to pull out the poisons. But when you have the cheese with the honey, that you want to digest. So the mineral concentration in that cheese that you digest with honey is incredible. I had a woman who had 32% osteoporosis, 32% of her bone gone, reversed it an entire year by having her have 2 tablespoons of cheese with 1.5 teaspoons of honey 3 times daily, every day for 1 year. Medical profession can't even change 1% of your bone density in 10 years. So, the cheese with the honey, very, very important to remineralize the body to make you strong. People who cannot gain weight and stay very thin is because they're terribly mineral deficient. I help people get fat very quickly or gain lots of muscle if they want by eating 3 or 4 tablespoons of cheese, even 5 at a time, with a teaspoon equal to a tablespoon of honey. And we'll do that 3 times a day. You can gain 30, 40 pounds in 2 months. I can do it in 1 month. I can gain 40 pounds. I can gain about, 18 kilos in 1 month. Because I know how to do it. And I can take it off as quickly too, which I don't want. Not if you eat with a honey. Especially if you're doing the sport drink. You gotta get too much. You'll just get bigger and bigger. I had a model from New Zealand who was 6'1", as skinny can be, and she loved the honey and cheese. She ate so much, she gained, 12 kilos in a month. Her agent was bananas. Didn't want to use her as a model anymore. And I said, just tell the agent there are heavier models these days. She needs to be a heavier model. It worked. She's doing okay. So you can gain a tremendous amount of weight. It's usually mineral deficiency because you don't have enough minerals to build the muscle, even if you eat the meat. But it will go very quickly if you do it. Bodybuilders, they ask me, how can I gain muscle mass fast? You eat a whole moisturizing lubrication formula, which is on page 146 of the recipe book. You eat one of those with a pound of meat twice daily, and then lots of cheese and honey 25, 30 minutes after that meat. I had one fellow who was skinny all the way up to 61 years old, always wanted to be a bodybuilder, but would get sick. He was back to working out. All the time got sick, stayed skinny. In 1 year, he put 4 inches on his arms and 6 inches on his chest, worked out for 1 year, hasn't worked out in 8 years, and maintains on it. Great about this diet. The diet you don't have to exercise to maintain the good physical muscles that you can build. So, the meat meal needs to be with butter, with the cheese and honey afterwards. And then for the next, let's say you haven't had the vegetable juice, then go to 3 hours having cheese, whatever your cycle might be, whatever you think it might be, every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, every 45 minutes, every hour. And then you sip the sport formula, or milk, or milkshake in between. If you're thin, you have allergies, you need milkshake. You need to build the mucus. If you're thin, you need to build the body. So milkshake is the thing we need on milk. We've got extra cream in it, you've got the eggs, you've got extra nutrients in it. It's dense, very dense. So you have your vegetable juice at that time. Of course, you have that teaspoon of cheese, so it's at that you have your vegetable juice. Then you go back into that cycle again, whatever it is, you sip those drinks and eat that cheese for another hour or 2. Then you come to your fruit meal in the afternoon, anywhere from 11 to 2:30. Your fruit meal should be whatever fruit that I tell you in the recipe book applies to your symptoms. And we want to live in the remedy section. You've got an ailment, and it tells you to eat a certain kind of fruit, that's the fruit you should eat. I talked about the berries, detoxing metal out of the body. You can take it from that point, you need berries. You have a spinal problem, eat papaya, eat custard. You've got intestinal problems, don't digest well, papaya, pineapple. You eat, let's say, if you're a small person, you want a lot of high sugar. So let's say half to 3/4 of a cup of berries or fruit. Fruit let's say half to 3/4 cup. If you're a larger person, anywhere from a cup to a cup and a half of fruit. Then anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons of coconut cream. This is your detox meal. Fruit is always a detoxifier. It creates fermentation, alcohol. But how does alcohol work with to make as a solvent something to dissolve into the body? Fat. Which fat? Coconut cream is the best. Now, when you're removing poisons from the body, you need a protection for the nervous system. Raw cream is the only fat that will completely feed the nervous system. Butter won't, coconut won't, kefir won't, milk won't. It has to be concentrated cream, dairy cream. So 1 to 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons with that fruit meal to protect the nerves from the poison that you're going to move with fruit as it ferments in your system. If you're highly toxic with a lot of metals in your intestines and stomach, and you start having black bowel movements, and they stink like metal, be sure to put 1 to 2 tablespoons of lime juice with that fruit meal to make sure that the lime juice surrounds the metal, so if you get back into your body, it won't do damage, it won't go into a cell, it'll stay isolated and separated. And also to reduce the odor coming out of your system. Very important thing. Always, because lime juice is an antibacterial and an antiseptic, and we don't want that completely. Have a teaspoon of lemon juice with every 1 tablespoon of lime juice. Remember, lemon incites fermentation and bacterial growth. Lime is the opposite.
Wouldn't they just cancel each other out?
Pardon?
Wouldn't they just cancel each other out?
No. I haven't found that. They complement. The body uses one way and the other the other way. So it can do both. I was afraid of that when I first started doing the experiments. But it all never worked out well. So it's good.
And the lemon is for what?
The lemon is to incite bacterial growth, fermentation. Pardon? If you have no digestive bacteria and you've got lots of metal poisoning in your body, you need the lime juice to surround those poisons. Even if let's say your mother was a heavy Windex user. Windex is the most toxic home product there is. And people inhale. The lime juice will surround those molecules and keep them from doing more damage. And they do heavy damage. Windex probably causes about probably 1 million cancers a year. So use vinegar and water, clean your windows. Sure, leave a film, but it'll be a happy film, not a cancerous film. And don't use newspaper to clean it. Because what's in newspaper? You've got a chemical dryer made from soy, which is highly toxic. If I get near a newspaper that's fresh, I will sneeze and get a headache. So I have to let newsprint dry for a couple of days outside before I can get near it. Of course, I have to read those anyway, do everything online. So I have to worry about this thing. So, after you have your fruit meal, then if you have a lot of toxins in your body, eat a little cheese with that meal. Eat a little cheese with your meat, just to make sure the poisons dump into your food, even a little bit, you'll have something there to absorb it. And you don't have to have a lot of cheese with that. Then after your fruit meal, you go back into the routine of eating the cheese as frequently as you need it, with sipping sipping all the sport formula, the milk, or the milkshake. And you do that for 4 or 5 hours. Then you're up somewhere, and if you get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, this will be about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So, if you had the vegetable juice before your meat meal, you're going to go about 3 to 4 hours up to your fruit meal. You'll be on your fruit meal the same up into the evening, where you could have another vegetable juice if you feel you need it. If you don't, you just go right into your second meat meal. Again, butter with it, and the butter can be in a sauce that you like better than just having butter with your meat. And like I said, there's many sauces in the rest of them. And then after that, again, 25 minutes, you have a piece or 1 cube or 2 cubes of cheese, depending on how toxic you might feel. 10 minutes after that, your cheese and honey again. Then in the evening, you go back to your cheese, whatever cycle it is, however many minutes, and you're sipping again until you go to sleep. In the middle of the night, do not go through the night without eating. After 5 hours, the protein level in your blood completely bottoms out. So what happens if you don't eat? Red blood cells become cannibalistic, and they eat each other. If you sleep 8 to 10 hours without eating, you'll lose 2 to 4 tablespoons of red blood cells. You will wake with anemia. You wake in the morning and you say, God, I don't feel like I slept. That's anemia. Coffee is no remedy. Theobromine chocolate is no remedy. Caffeine is no remedy. None of those drugs are remedy for anemia. Eating is a remedy for anemia. So, you wake in the night, you eat, let's say, an egg and a couple of ounces of milk, or you have a little bit of milkshake, like a half a cup by at your bedside. Drink that, a couple of eggs, golf ball size of meat, eat something, half a cup of milk, go back to sleep. You'll wake up with more energy, more clarity, more everything, with no anemia.
And it says alarm to do it?
Pardon?
It says alarm to do it?
Most people need an alarm because they're not used to it. After they get used to it, the body just wakes. And if you're a hyperactive person, now I tell by the number of activity rings in the eyes. People have anywhere from none to 14. 14 is the most I've seen. Athletes have 7 to 14. People who are physically active, construction workers, ditch diggers, farmers, all have many, many activity rings. That means you need to spend a lot of energy in activity every day. If you don't, you're going to be in anxiety. The number of rings you have in your eyes tells me how many hours of hormones you produce for physical activity. You don't spend in activity, you get to spend in anxiety. And we know how that is for relationships. Everybody loves people with anxiety, giving them hell. Like that poor Anne woman. She was full of anxiety. She needed to run around the block 5 times and then come and talk to me. But she didn't do that. So when you find yourself in anxiety, you need to exercise. If you don't have the energy to exercise, you sing. 20 minutes of singing is equal to an hour on a treadmill.
Wow.
Why? Because there are parts of the body we don't normally use. You have to control the amount of air that passes through the throat. You have to treat that as an aperture, both your mouth and your throat, to get the right note, the right sound out. Even if you're a bad singer, you can still try. And all of that effort takes a great amount. Anybody ever seen a skinny opera singer? Impossible. They need tremendous amounts of fat to belt that. I mean, you could be Mick Jagger and have a microphone and do it. And that poor guy eats 8 meals a day.
It's right on your left.